Hello, good to be with you again on Business Live. I am Emmanuel Abuaji Riafe. Coming up in this evening's edition, Microsoft Ghana moves to clamp down on the incidence of copyright piracy in the country as it hits alarming proportions. The Bank of Ghana says its decision to release some significant amounts of dollars onto the market will be based on real demand. And the Petroleum Commission expresses satisfaction with the impact made so far by international oil companies in host communities in the country. These are the headlines. Good evening and welcome. You can always stay interactive with us by tweeting Joy Business GH and on Facebook, Joy Business. We're taking a short break. We'll be back after this.
Business Live today is brought to you by GCB Bank.
Now, Microsoft Ghana says the incidence of copyright piracy in Ghana has hit alarming proportions. In an interview with Joy Business, the country manager for Microsoft Ghana, Derek Appiah, said the company is moving to clamp down on copyright piracy as the issue of pirated software affects the lives of many individuals and organizations, exposing them to some hazards. This was at an interactive cybersecurity awareness program held in Accra.
Microsoft, in collaboration with the National Communications Authority, Ministry of Communications and National Security Secretariat, with support from the U.S. government, is hosting a week-long awareness drive on cybersecurity. According to the country manager of Microsoft Ghana, Derek Appiah, this has become imperative with the alarming growth in copyright piracy in the country.
The new trends is previously kind of the issue around malware, cybercrime, etc. were generally small individuals who wanted to kind of have some sort of an impact. What we found since about 2003, 2004 is that increasingly it becomes a kind of a business model. The criminals have actually got involved in terms of because basically they get it's free profits, they have a business model. And finally lately we found that even nation states are kind of getting involved in kind of in cybercrime.
A major contributory factor to the issue of copyright piracy is because it is quite expensive for people to secure documents and other software systems. But according to Consumer Group Director of Microsoft, Kailash Bana, the company is exploring more flexible payment terms.
So payments is certainly an issue, yes. And the way we're bridging the gap from a payments perspective is we're starting to work with the telcos. In fact, from an Africa perspective all up, we're starting to work with the telco organizations, where we now have a payment scheme on a monthly basis, especially around some of our applications such as Office, where you can pay a monthly subscription versus an annual or a once-off subscription. So they should be starting within the next 2 or 3 months. We are under discussions right now with some of the telcos. As soon as we finalize them, we'll be able to kind of phase them out into the broader public.
The Cybersecurity Awareness Week began Monday, 21st November and runs through to Friday, 25th November 2016.
Executive Director of CDH Savings and Loans, Martin Asamoah, is assuring the public not to worry about losing their monies through negligence. Speaking with Joy Business, he said CDH has come to offer quality services to its customers and will secure all customers' deposits to the hilt.
A bank or service loans to most customers see it as a safe place to have their funds. Not just because of the interest alone. Some people put their money there as a safe place. So if you come to me after a few months and I tell you that your funds I can't pay you, that means I'm not in business. So I'm giving all of them assurance If you just take an example of we've been in business for 25 good years, and we are still growing from a finance house to a savings and loans, and we have not even got to our limits. Getting to investor banks soon. So the confidence, you see, our business is all trust and confidence.
And the Bank of Ghana says its decision to release some significant amount of dollars onto the market will be based on real demand. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Abdul Nashiru Isahaku, disclosed this to journalists after the Monetary Policy Committee met to review the health of the economy and reduce the policy rate to 25.5%. There's more in this report.
Local currency's performance. The governor challenged claims that the cedi's depreciation is currently alarming.
Its evidence is actually stabilized, and when we compare to last year and the previous election years, it's for a reason. That you don't always have the same situation. That stabilizing means there is improved performance of the currency, given what we expected, in an election year. And when I say we here, I'm talking general citizenship of this country. And what we are seeing is a remarkable, performance of the currency compared to last year, where it was about 15.something% depreciation.
He added that the central bank has enough dollars to stabilize the cedi.
What we are seeing now is purely speculative, because we have the stock of forex. In tree, we say it's kind of taho. And I wish to emphasize again, we intervene when it's necessary just to moderate the volatilities. So there's no reason why, rates should be, gyrating in the way that we've seen now. But that's also expected, given this time of the year and also this year especially.
Dr. Abdul Nasiru Isahaku also supported the finance minister's argument that the issuance of dollar bonds to local investors will not affect the cedi's performance. He also assured there's adequate reserves to support the country's imports.
Yes, the reserve is much higher than we posted out there. There was $500 million that came in that we didn't add on to what we posted because we didn't have the figure at the time. And now the gross foreign assets it's out there, it's about 3.1 months of import cover. Now, if we were to add the $500 million, it's about 6.4 billion, which brings it to about 4 months of import cover. So we are at about 4 months of import cover, given the latest figures that we have compiled. Yeah.
On the end-of-year inflation target of about 13%, the governor noted that the central bank is optimistic of meeting the targets and believes the local currency will eventually be stabilized.
Meanwhile, the Chamber of Commerce and Industries has reacted to the reduction of the policy rate by 50 basis points to 25.5%. Speaking on the marketplace earlier, CEO of the Chamber, Mark Abuaje, said the business group expected a marked departure from the 25.5% announced by the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank. He hoped the commercial banks will also reduce their lending rates accordingly to reflect the new policy rates.
We were expecting a much deeper cut, a much reduction in the policy rate. For us, even though we welcome the 0.500 basis point reduction, we were expecting that it would go down at least by 200 basis points. Because of the stability that we are enjoying, inflation had gone down, the cedi is now stabilized. We were expecting that the central bank will do us a favor, all of us a favor, by reducing the policy rate further downwards, and for the banks to also follow suit and reduce their lending rate. As it stands now at 25.5, it's still among the highest in the world. For now, I think we need to wait and see and look at how the banks will react to it. Usually, the banks are very slow in reacting to a reduction in policy rate. And looking at the magnitude, 0.5, we are just sitting down quietly and patiently waiting for how the banks will react. I don't know to the extent to which they will reduce their lending rates, but if it can go down, then it will be a positive sign for the business community. We don't expect it to take a longer time. Usually it does. It takes some time for the banks to react. But now we are urging the banks that once the policy rate has gone down by that margin, at least we should also see some reduction in their lending rates. Of course, we want to boost the private sector, the business activities, for us to also be able to borrow at a very affordable rate for us to expand our businesses and to produce. Also to be able to pay for the money that we borrowed from them.
Mark Abuaji is the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industries. You're still live on Business Live. We're taking a breather here. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Thanks for staying. Now, moving on, there are indications that prices of petroleum products have reduced considerably across filling stations in the country. Earlier, the Institute for Energy Security, IES, predicted a marginal drop in petrol and diesel prices in Ghana. It said diesel and petrol were likely to go down by 1.5% on the local market. Now, so what has changed? Because as news coming in indicates that petrol prices have really gone down beyond the 3% mark. Let's now get on the phone lines and speak with Principal Research Officer at the Institute for Energy Security, Richmond Roxon. Richmond, good evening. Welcome to Business Live.
Hello, good evening.
Now, you predicted earlier on that we were expecting a price drop between 1.5 and beyond 3%, but it looks like the pumps have reduced prices further. What do you have to say about this?
Good evening to your viewers. First of all, at the end of the day, it's an analysis that we make, every week to do this because we have two windows, that's pricing windows in every month. And we find it intriguing that already there are talks of political behind it because it's something we've been doing since June 15. We've been doing practicing deregulation, and there's been times have gone up, there's been times the price have dropped. So we find it rather unfortunate that at this point in time people should be reading political meaning. As you already know, prices typically are determined with our forex, our inventory, crude oil price, and class prices, that's for finished products. And when you look at our analysis, our press release, prices of crude oil fell from 51.2 7.07. That was about 8% drop. Plus prices also came down with diesel and petrol as well by 7 to 8%. The only challenge we had this time around was our inventory. You realize that the inventory dropped from 145 million to 318. So this time was capable of taking us to 3 weeks supply of diesel and 7 weeks supply of petrol. So these are fundamentals that are led to the price of prices dropping at the pump.
All right, now, when we look at the forex market, the cedi is quite depreciating in value. Why is it that you have still, or you predicted a reduction when the basic medium of exchange, that's the dollar, is appreciating against the cedi?
You realize that up the 15th of this month, where we begins from 16th to the next, to the end of the month, the cedi had not depreciated. When you look at our release, the capital that was really, really marginal, was below 1%. And when it's below 1%, you consider it as stable. So that didn't depreciate. Unfortunately, this week the cedi has gone up a bit. So when you look at the indicators from 15th, the cedi was stable. So we cannot use today's price. What we can do is that when we get into the next window, that's the first window in December, we'll take this into consideration. We'll analyze it for that window. But also then the figures we're supposed to use for this window is that of 15th. And around that time, the cedi was really.
How much are the prices of petrol and the diesel currently on the pumps?
Oh, on average, I'm looking at 3.63 for the average in the market. For example, Prima Energy used to sell at 3.690. Now Prima is at 3.590. Aquapet has also done some reductions. That's still at 3.60. sell, because you've also done some research as well. Across the board, there's been reduction by not more than 3% as we predicted. So we don't think the price has gone further than that. Sometimes if you look at a drop of between 10 to 15%.
All right, so do we expect the dynamics to change before the close of the second pricing window?
The forex has started rising, every election. What the trend has been in our country. People rather change the CD into hard currencies, foreign currencies, because of the fears surrounding the election. And what they do is that if there are any challenges, God forbid, they will be able to use that currency to travel outside. So because of the demand for CD, they started rising marginally. But crude oil prices continue to drop as well. And when you look at Platts at this point in time, it is dropping as well. For the crude this December, OPEC is supposed to have a meeting to decide on production cap because prices have been falling for a while. Russia has been giving them challenges. So we are looking forward to that meeting. When that meeting happens, they're able to agree on a deal. It will have effect on the price of crude. But until then, we expect prices to remain the same. We don't expect any significant change in this window.
Okay, lastly, before you go, one of the key derivatives for your predictions is the fact that we have adequate stocks of fuel in place. What is the level of the national stock at the moment?
Currently, that's 318 million liters. For the 318 million liters, we have 3 weeks supply of diesel and 7 weeks supply of petrol. Petrol is 195 million liters as we speak, and diesel is 123 million liters as we speak. But there is the case that some NOTCs are brought in fuel. We expect that by the next window, our inventory should go up.
All right, thank you very much, Richmond. Richmond Roxon is the Principal Research Analyst at the Institute for Energy Security. Now, moving on, the Petroleum Commission has expressed satisfaction with the impact made so far by international oil companies in host oil communities. The sector has, since the commencement of production in 2011, contributed over $3 billion to the economy. But there have been concerns by industry watchers that the activities of oil firms have adversely affected the livelihoods of residents, businesses, and especially the fishing communities in such areas. However, speaking with Joy Business, Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Theophilus Ahwilei, said enormous progress has been made in ensuring that such communities do not unduly bear the brunt of oil production.
I'm pleased to say that a lot has happened in that area. In terms of engaging the communities, we do that pretty well. Once every year, we have a forum led by the Minister for Petroleum that have sessions with the Western Regional House of Chiefs. We also have sessions with the district assemblies for what we call the frontline districts. We also have sessions with the fishing community for them to understand that there's a new entrance in the offshore area. And it was important for them to realize that we can harmoniously coexist and one is not a threat to the other. And I think these campaigns are going pretty well. You would also see from the CSR, the corporate social responsibility of the service companies and IOCs, that they are providing a lot of amenities to the local people. Some of them have provided boreholes in the communities. Some of them have assisted in developing chip compounds. One of the companies has actually embarked on a scholarship program which they do annually, among others. So there is a lot of progress in terms of the provision of these amenities in the area.
And that's it for Business Live today. We take a short break. We'll be back shortly.
Business Live today was brought to you by GCB Bank.
Thank you very much for staying on Business Live. It's now time for the interview of the day.
To go for the big contracts because of the lack of capacity. What steps are we taking or putting in place to bridge that gap?
Well, I think what the Honorable Minister said is correct. And I think for every businessman, you look at the size of your or your capability. I mean, if you do business in a range of a few tens of thousands of dollars, you would obviously not pick up, say, $1 billion contract. And I'm sure that the major contractor himself will not give you that contract. So that's very natural. But this is what it is. And then you look at what you can do differently. So we've done many things differently. One of them is the principle of unbundling. So, for example, if there's a contract that is supposed to be given for so much, that entails putting a lot of services together. Say, for example, a contract of getting car rentals, cleaning services, provision of water, etc. Now, if you put all these things together, it becomes immediately a very large contract that might become a barrier for a small player to deal with. Our view is that if we don't see any strong link between these services put together, we actually ask the companies to unbundle this project so that a small company that deals with car rental will be able to deal with it, the one responsible for cleaning, etc. So this is basically what we call the principle of unbundling, and we've done very, very well. We have also looked at the entire value chain and look at certain services that we believe Ghanaians can deal with immediately. And for those ones, we have actually reserved those projects for local companies, and it's working pretty well. We have also gone through a process of developing the capacity of local companies to be able to compete for contracts which previously they had issues with. One key thing, for example, is that the oil industry is an industry that is very strong on safety. So there was the need to organize a number of programs to beef up the HSE standards of a number of these companies. And we found that to be very useful. And these are all things we have done and are continuing to do. You must have read about a month ago that we held this big workshop on financial services. All that we are saying is that there is great opportunity for financial intermediation in the upstream petroleum industry, which we think is basically untapped. And we are educated as stakeholders. We are telling the banks what we do in the upstream business. We're telling them what services we require financing for. We're telling them typical financing products to be able to achieve that. And I think that discourse, for example, is going very well. So we are attacking this from many fronts, and we're really seeing the impact of the activities we are undertaking.
So they can finance upstream projects?
Yes, so they can finance. You know, most of the time, we think that the absence of financing is the barrier, but it's not the case all the time. If the bank does not understand what you're doing, they won't finance you. If somebody wants you to give him a loan for a business you don't understand, you wouldn't. So you start by educating the institution about what the industry is about. So that's one thing. The other thing is also to let them understand what constraints the parties have. I mean, for example, if the banks are not giving financing to the local companies because of what they perceive to be a problem, our business is to deal with that so that the barriers are minimized. And we think it's going pretty well. The program we are holding tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday is a fantastic example of the workshops we hold, bringing the stakeholders together, let them understand that yes, the industry is growing. We've come from a one development or one project to a second one, a third one is coming up. Not many countries start oil and gas production with 100,000 barrels of oil per day. And I think we must be pleased that there is growth in the sector in Ghana.
Many thanks for your time today on Business Live. This is where we wrap up the program today. I believe you enjoyed every part of it, and of course you do join me again same time tomorrow for another interesting edition. My name is Emmanuel Apuachi. Good evening.